To all my audiobook listener who likes to listen audiobook. Chanakya in you. Chapter 3. Bringing out the leader in me. Leadership is a very interesting concept, Grandpa said. It has various dimensions. It is the ability to lead people to a higher goal, the clarity to take decisions in difficult circumstances, making the impossible possible, inspiring a group and walking the talk. It is not just about knowing the rules of the game, but winning the game. Above all, it is the ability to see things where others do not. These were the first thoughts on leadership that were etched in my mind and heart. How does one become a leader? I asked eagerly. Good question, Grandpa was inspired by my enthusiasm. There are many methods to becoming a leader, by reading books on leadership, associating with other leaders, learning from the lives of other leaders and thinking about leaders. In short, to become a leader, one should be able to think and act like a leader. The wise man continued, leadership is not just about a position or power of authority that you hold, it is also being morally right. Morally right? What does that mean? According to the Sanatana Dharma scriptures, a leader has to be dharmic first. He has to be righteous. That is the reason the ideal king is known as Rajarishi, a sage-like king or a philosopher king. Why does one need to be dharmic to be a leader? I wanted to know. The greatest dilemma a leader faces is called dharma sankat. This involves deciding what is right and what is wrong, and then taking actions based on the decision. As if the leader in me had been awakened, I asked, so by studying the Arthashastra, does one become a leader? The Arthashastra was written only for leaders, and only leaders can understand its content completely, the rest will miss the point. Taking the topic to different plane altogether, Grandpa then said, but before one studies the Arthashastra, one should study the Bhagavad Gita first. Bhagavad Gita? How were the two books even related? As I just mentioned, Dharma Sankat or moral dilemma is the greatest challenge that a leader faces. The Bhagavad Gita addresses the Dharma Sankat of Arjuna, the greatest warrior leader, as he is in the midst of battle. Arjuna was more than capable of fighting the war, but when it came to taking action on the battlefield, he developed cold feet. He was suffering from confusion of the highest degree, should he fight his relatives or not? The solution? Then comes Krishna, who gives him spiritual and material advice. This dialogue between Krishna and Arjuna makes up the Bhagavad Gita. Krishna's guidance ultimately helped lift Arjuna's morale to win the war. Krishna advises Arjuna not only on Dharma Sankat, but also on the various strategies and tactics required in different situations during the Mahabharata war. I remembered the many stories Grandpa had narrated to us about the war during our previous trip. So, with the Bhagavad Gita as a base, when you study the Arthashastra, a king becomes an ideal king. He becomes a dharmic king not just in theory, but also in practice, combining his knowledge of philosophy and strategy. Both the books have the objective of bringing out the decision maker in you, to bring out the leader in you. Did Grandpa bring out the leader in me at that point? To bring out the leader in you, you should be able to bring out the Chanakya in you. The Arthashastra will help you in this regard. Little did I know that from that point onwards, both the Bhagavad Gita and Arthashastra would be my guiding forces in life forever. Grandpa also warned me, remember, do not look at leadership only from a king's point of view. In today's democratic world, every person can be a king. The Arthashastra can be used by both men and women, by people in various fields and professions, by people across nations and generations. This was an introduction to a new dimension for me. Even though Chanakya had advised Chandragupta as Krishna had advised Arjuna, the same message was meant for you and me, for everyone. It was universal. Anyone could pick up these gems of knowledge and use them in their lives. As a child, I did not know what profession I would choose for myself, but I decided that regardless of my choice, I would surely aim to be a leader, an inspiration, and a positive contributor. Our short vacation had come to an end. Every holiday ended with very painful parting moments full of tears. Still, as always, we looked forward to the next vacation. During the journey back to the city, I pondered over all the wisdom my grandpa had given us. In those quiet moments sitting alone, I took some decisions that would have an impact on my life forever. Little did I know that this was the last time I would see Grandpa. Within a few days, Grandpa passed away. It happened so suddenly, and my parents felt that it was not important for me to rush to our native place for the funeral the way they had to. It was the 13th day of the ceremony when I finally arrived and all our relatives had gathered. I wished I could see Grandpa at least one more time. I looked for him all around the house, but I knew he was gone forever. In my search for him, I went to his library. I walked up to the chair, where he had sat and told us many enthralling stories, one after another. Then I noticed his favorite book, Kautilya's Arthashastra, lying on the table. The book was open. It seemed as though he had been reading it even on the last day of his life. Who would have thought that from that moment on, his favorite book would become my favorite book? I could not resist picking it up. I took it to Grandma and asked her, "Grandma, can I take this book with me?" She said, "Take it. He left all the books for you."